Hey Chris, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you.
Hey, thanks for taking this call with me. I looked you up a little bit. Let me show you what I looked up about you, and I guess people who are watching they can see also. Uh,
Thanks.
so I basically looked you up a little bit, and I know that you are working at HelloTax. So are you the founder of HelloTax? Is that it?
Yes, I'm the co-founder. So I'm one of three founders, and yeah.
Cool. So because I'm always so confused with tax questions are so complex always. And there seems to be so many different answers, especially for us Amazon sellers. Whenever we go and ask regular accountants about how things work and, especially about the gray areas or the nexuses and all these different things, there seems to not be one unified answer. Like each accountant has a little bit of different opinion, and especially those who have never worked with online businesses before. So I was hoping that you may have more insights that are relevant to the e-commerce sellers. And is that right? Like, what's your background? What knowledge
Yes.
do you have?
So my background is actually I have a business background. I have been an Amazon seller myself. I wasn't that successful, which doesn't matter that much, but we actually, when we started with HelloTax and when we started to, solve all these VAT problems for e-commerce sellers, it was built based on our own needs. So, and this is, as you just say, like this is exactly my experience. And many accountants, I mean, we didn't invent accounting, but many accountants, they have not a slightest clue about e-commerce, they don't know anything, right? And you need to know about Amazon, you need to know how Amazon works, as well as you need to know about taxation. And only those two things together can allow you to really stay compliant in that e-commerce world, because many rules and regulations in each and every country, they are not built for e-commerce. They are just, like 10 years behind when it comes to those rules and regulations. And this is basically what we do. So we try to really help sellers to navigate through all these VAT related topics in all the different European countries that they are selling in.
Okay, so let's start with the most complicated question. And I have recently received this email from Amazon Germany, when they start requiring something that requires me to apply for something, and I haven't done it. And since I haven't done it, so my account has been suspended in Germany, and I keep getting Amazon emails, and now they're starting to say that there is some kind of VAT service of their own that I could use to help with that. So what is that about, and how can I make it go away and start selling in Germany again?
Yeah, so that's a little bit bigger topic. So that something you're talking about is called F22 certificate. And it's basically a confirmation that you give. So you get that confirmation from your local tax authority, from the German local tax authority, and you give it to Amazon. And it simply tells Amazon, yes, the government confirms that I am VAT compliant. What's the background here? So since I think 1.5 years ago, the German government, they made Amazon liable for all their sellers that are not paying VAT, okay? Especially addressing Chinese sellers that are really flooding the German market, not doing anything, not caring about VAT. And the government couldn't get hold on them in China, right? They don't have that reach. So they simply said, okay, Amazon is liable for them, right? And Amazon then agreed with the government saying, okay, but we cannot just be liable, it would kill our business. So they agreed to say, okay, if the German government confirms to seller with that F22 document that they are tax compliant and they upload this to Amazon, then Amazon is out of responsibility, okay? And obviously, when you apply for that F22 at the German government, they will take a look at your account, they will take a look at all your data, and they will compare if you are really tax compliant. So this way, Amazon is out of the game and they are safe. They are not liable for any VAT. And at the same time, the government finally has the opportunity to really take a closer look at all those e-commerce sellers that maybe haven't been registered for VAT in Germany by now.
But what does it mean to be tax compliant in this case? Does it mean, because I am personally, I'm registered in UK as a VAT payer, and I was thinking I don't go over the threshold in the other countries, so I will just use the 20% VAT for all my sales. So how does the Germany now come in?
You're perfectly right in what you just said. In general, there is always two rules why you have to get VAT registered. Either you store in that country, Amazon FBA Germany or Pan-EU or whatsoever, or you exceed the distance selling threshold limit. In Germany, the threshold limit is 100,000 euros within 1 year, which may mean that many sellers are below that limit if they're just shipping from the UK to German customers, okay? These are the two reasons in general. And the point is now, and here it gets a little tricky. The German government says, those are the rules. Perfectly fine, right? If you exceed the threshold or if you store there. So if you, in your situation, would go to the German government today and you would apply for a VAT number, because first you need to apply for a VAT number and then you would get that F22 certificate that Amazon requires. If you would apply for a VAT number today in your situation, the German government, the lady at the tax authority, she would tell you, you don't have to get registered, you know, by law, it's perfectly fine. You can charge 20% UK VAT as long as you're below the threshold within that year, okay? And she will tell you, sorry, I don't need to, there is no need to give you that VAT certificate, and therefore she can also not give you the F22.
Oh.
What is Amazon doing? And now it gets tricky. Amazon says, we don't want to be liable, you know, like not liable at all. And you know how precise Amazon sometimes gets when it comes to certain things. And they just simply said, everyone that sells at least to one German seller needs to have that document. So the thing is, you don't get that document, and you don't need to have that document because you're fine. You are tax compliant in the way you do it, okay? At the same time, Amazon says, don't care, you need to have that F22, but you don't get that F22, okay? So in your situation, and I've made a separate video actually even about that situation because it affects many sellers at the moment, there is not much you can do. The only thing you can do is getting yourself a reason why you have to get registered in Germany. So either making more sales to Germans, which would be great, I guess, but probably not possible, or you decide for storing in Amazon Germany.
Ooh, so basically I can't even register even if I want to register. But that means I would get a separate VAT number in Germany, is that right? Like
Correct.
Apart from the VAT number. So isn't it in Europe that you can use the same VAT number everywhere? It has to be separate.
If you would do so. So always two reasons: exceeding a threshold or storing in a country. Then you have to register in that country. And when you register, it also means that part of your VAT that you maybe have paid in the UK by now, you now are paying in a different country.
Okay. So in general, I have to create a way to sign up for German VAT, which I don't even need to, and just to get unsuspended in Germany. So I have to evaluate my account really. If I'm selling enough, is it worth it for me? And I am not selling enough, and the refund rate is the highest in Germany. I sell apparel and they really like to refund. So plus I'm a little bit scared of Germany. When I had a choice to register for VAT in one of the 5 countries, I chose UK because I personally think that Germany is much more strict on all kinds of documentations, and once you get on their radar, there's no way out. I'm just thinking, if I put my name there one time, register, and that's it, they will just follow me forever, any country I go to. And I'm just a little bit worried about that.
That's true. And I mean, your situation is a perfect example for many sellers out there that have exactly that problem at the moment. And as you say, some simply say, I have to discard Germany, I have to discard that market. And others say, okay, now once I have the need to go there, let's make it correct. Because one thing that I also tell to sellers is saying, if you want to sell properly in a country, if you really want to expand to a marketplace, you need to store in that country as well, because you have lower shipping fees, you have all that your customers, they have all the prime advantages. And in the end, it's a win-win situation for both, as well as for Amazon.
So what is the service that they provide now, of which Amazon sent me an email about? Is that similar to your service, or what is that?
Yes, correct. In some ways, it is similar to our service. There are obviously some differences as well. But in the end, Amazon, I mean, they always want you to expand and to store in as many countries as possible, obviously. And they also know, which at least they learned it by now, that VAT is not something they can just ignore, because in the past they simply ignored it. They told their sellers, just store there and don't care, okay?
Yeah.
But now that governments are getting more and more strict, like the German government, but also like other countries, sellers, they really said, sorry, Amazon, don't store in that country because I don't want to get registered. I don't want to deal with all that. So it wouldn't be Amazon if they wouldn't find solutions. And the solution by Amazon is to say, okay, they just reached out to some external companies, some external tax advising companies, and they partnered with those companies. And they now, in order to promote this, they sometimes offer to sellers that Amazon pays the first year of fees to that service provider, okay?
Okay.
This is something that obviously affects us as well as a service provider, that where sellers do have to pay for the service for the very first moment. So we have to differentiate ourselves with the quality of the service and with different kind of automation possibilities. So saying that if you sell not only on Amazon, but also eBay and your website, you can also plug this into our software. Our software does all that compliance work. You have a better overview. You have a better customer service. Very big topic, you know. I'm not sure if you want Amazon to do your customer service when it comes to VAT questions.
Okay, so is this how you differentiate from the other guys as well? Like, I will show you something. So I've seen that's your website, right?
That's us, yes, correct.
So on my website, I have this resources list, which is a big list of software tools and services. And
Yes.
I list a few services that help with something like they're doing, like Simply VAT, and I don't know, there's a few other services that exist out there, I guess. So is that what you were mentioning just now? Is that the biggest differentiator between those other guys and you? Like, why would I choose you?
It's a very good question, actually. So most of these providers, as I said in the beginning, we didn't invent accounting. I mean, we didn't invent how to register for a VAT number and how to file VAT returns, right? But since we have been Amazon sellers ourselves, we know the struggles. We really know how Amazon works. We know the complexity of that system. And we know that in our digital environment, there can only be a digital solution to it. So what we do is we put a lot of focus on a software-based solution here, okay? So instead of you manually downloading the data from your Amazon account, giving it manually or by email, sending it to the accountant, and then the accountant filing it and returning it to you by email, you have, as you can see here, you have a software, you have a place, you have a dashboard, you can see at any time what's my VAT liability in what country. So it saves you much more time in the end, and it gives you more control over your business and over your numbers. This is the main differentiator between our service and other services that in general, they do provide a similar service. They register you for a VAT ID as we do, they file your returns as we do, but the way they do it is a different one.
Wow, I love this. This is what would make me convert easier, definitely. I see the differentiator is really big. It's nice to have everything set out there because it's a little bit of a dark, closed box. The way I currently work with my current provider, I basically just send them a report once a year, and then I don't know what's happening, where it's happening, and I was even worried to ask the question about the German VAT question, just because I was worried they will bill me for the hours of having to respond. So,
That's
yeah.
exactly the same problem we had ourselves in the beginning. So, as you say, you send them something once every X period. Many times they don't even know what those numbers are all about. So, you need to be the tax expert to explain to them how it works. And here you have, as you can see, we are monitoring your threshold limits. So the system will remind you if you exceed the threshold limit. It's not that you have to take an eye on it. The system will remind you if you store in a country, because many times Amazon is just storing there without telling you. And it validates, as you can see here, it validates every transaction we get from Amazon to see if it is tax compliant. Because in the worst case scenario, you have to pay taxes for something that you didn't collect taxes for. And then you have like a 20% less margin in the end.
Oh, very nice. So, because of course the other services, they just ask me for the report of all of them, then check it's UK. They don't actually go one by one like this. This is great. So I have
It's
to pay less tax.
you cannot do it. So we are like, our system is processing, I think, about 5 million invoices every month. And you cannot do this manually. You need to have a software that has all those rules and regulations inside, and it processes them. And also when it comes to the VAT returns, or even take tax letters as a very simple thing. Many people always forget about tax letters. You will receive tax letters. Governments love sending letters, right?
Right.
So imagine you're receiving a Polish tax letter, right? I don't know how good your Polish is, but mine isn't that good, right?
It's not. Dziękuję, pani. That's all I know.
Exactly. So what do you do with a Polish letter? Like you pay someone to read it for you or whatever, right? So what we have built is that we are receiving all those letters, we are scanning them, and you receive the original letter as well as an automated translation of that letter in your language, in English or in German or whatever your language is.
Right.
Then you can react on it. So it's just, in the end, you have much more control over what you do and how you do it.
Great. I notice here there's a threshold. Is that a threshold once I would have to be registered already?
Correct.
Okay.
So that's your German example in the end, where if you would be at 90% at like 90,000 euros in Germany, the system would send you a reminder saying, hey, you're close to the German threshold, so that you can take some actions, okay? Or if you would exceed the threshold, our software would come and automatically say, hey, you have exceeded that threshold, please get registered. And then with a click of a button, you can purchase that service. And, the registration in that country would start, and then you can continue selling, and, everything is fine. It's just another country.
It's great. I love it. I'm the founder of Shopkeeper, and all I'm trying to do is make the user interface as simple, as clear, as easy. And I see that you have just the same concepts here. It's so nice and smooth, and everything is obviously very common sense. It's simple, it's cute, it's beautiful. Oh, I love this. I love this. So I have a complicated question for you next. This pan-European thing with Amazon, pan-European Amazon. Yeah, so what exactly that entails? Like, when should I consider registering for that and not? Like, how does it affect the VAT registration? Is there a difference? Like, what is that?
So, what does pan-EU mean? Pan-EU means that you're storing with Amazon in all their warehouses that they have currently, okay? And currently Amazon has warehouses in 7 different countries: Germany, France, Spain, Italy, UK, like the 5 marketplaces, as well as in Poland and Czech Republic, okay? So that's the countries they have warehouses in. And as I told in the beginning, there is always 2 reasons to register for a VAT number. And one of those reasons was if you store in a country. And in this example, you're storing in 7 countries. So when you do pan-EU, when you allow Amazon to store your inventory in all those different countries, the disadvantage to it is that you need to get registered for VAT and you need to pay and file VAT in all those 7 different countries where Amazon has a VAT number, where Amazon has a warehouse in. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the disadvantage. But on the advantage side, why are people doing that? Is that Amazon you still move your inventory to only one warehouse, like you do it in the UK, and Amazon moves it for free internally to all the places that are the closest to the customer. So your customers, they always receive the fastest, their products the fastest way possible. Therefore, you got a better conversion, obviously. And with a better conversion, you get a better ranking in comparison to other sellers that may just sell it from the UK, okay? And all in all, you also save FBA fees because you only pay the local FBA fees and they are about 1/3 lower than your fees, like when you're selling something from the UK to Germany or to Spain or to Italy or to any other customer in any of those countries.
So what about this? Okay, if I am enabled pan-European and Amazon shifts my stock from one country to another, so, but if I only import to UK, I pay the import VAT, that input-output only works on UK then in terms of me, right? The rest Amazon handles, like I don't need to think about it.
You still do your import to the UK and you can reclaim your import VAT in the UK as well, like you do today. And then Amazon moves your inventory from that UK warehouse to all the other warehouses across the European Union at no additional charges. And when, let's say, a customer in Spain is ordering your products, he gets them delivered from the Spanish warehouse, from the closest Spanish warehouse that Amazon has moved your products to. And therefore, you always, I mean, first of all, the shipping distance, the geographical distance is just the shortest. And therefore, the delivery times are the fastest. And therefore, you have the lowest FBA fees possible with pan-EU. And because of that, because of all those advantages, Amazon obviously would rank you better than someone that is sending his products from the UK to the customer in Spain.
Yeah, there's also this EFN fee that gets put into the FBA fee. When I was looking at the calculator, right? So because I run Shopkeeper, I'm very familiar with that. Very often sellers ask me why my FBA fee in the calculator estimator for the fees says $7 or £7. And then later it's actually £9 on the order. What's this 2 extra pounds? Well, this is the EFN fee, exactly what you're saying, moving, like shipping from UK to Germany or something.
Correct. Right. It's the cross-border fee, so to say, the additional that Amazon needs to charge you because they also have higher fees for moving certain goods on a one-on-one basis directly to the customer.
Good.
So the decision in going for pan-EU or not going for pan-EU, I think it's just it's a decision based on numbers. So you compare the additional costs you have, VAT registration and VAT compliance, and you compare them to the additional or to the savings that you get from having more sales and having lower FBA fees. This is what you would need to compare to. And normally, just as a roundabout figure, we are telling sellers that if they sell at least 500 units per month on average, okay, that's the time where they should take a closer look at the options of Amazon pan-EU. Below that, it's most likely that it's not worth it because of the additional costs for VAT compliance.
Okay, very interesting. So I have one last question for you, a little bit, I guess, an easy one. So what about this UK Britex when they're going to, you know, become their own? And how do you think that will affect the whole VAT setup, especially for me now? I'm set up there and now it's going to be a little bit different. Like, what is going to happen to me and what should I do next?
That's a good question. I mean, I'm not a fortune teller. I'm not a politician. I don't know. I don't take decisions. But there are a few things that are pretty clear the way they will work like, okay? So if Brexit happens and Great Britain is out of the European Union, first of all, inside the UK, for you, nothing will change. You will still do your import, you will still pay your import VAT, and you will still be able to reclaim it thereafter. Why would the UK change that regulations or change that system, okay? So they may change the VAT rate, they may change something like this, okay, just to earn some more money, but there is no real change in that, okay?
Okay.
When it comes to selling to customers in, let's say, Germany, okay, as you do from the UK, this is now treated as an import. So as an import into Germany. And the thing here is that an import into Germany, like that's if you would be purchasing something in the US at the moment, right? It would also be treated as an import. It has no disadvantages for you as a person, because you as a seller, you still put your products in the, in Amazon FBA, and Amazon FBA sends them to the customer. You may have to pay a little higher fees because Amazon has more, more administrative work to do, but it doesn't change that much. Where there is a big change is actually for the buyer himself, because that buyer, if the product value is beyond 25 euros, okay, which is a number at the moment, if the product value is beyond 25 euros, they need to get to the post office and pay import VAT for that product that you sold. And this is per se is not a big deal, because you can say, okay, I don't need to charge for VAT, therefore I can make my product a little cheaper compared to the ones that sell it from within Germany. But let's be honest, who likes to go to his post office and pay VAT in order to receive his product?
That's right.
No one, right?
No one.
So the only option you have, and here we are again back at this German F22 topic, right? In order to overcome this problem is you need to store locally. You need to ensure that when Brexit really happens, and at the moment it looks like it will happen in October, that you should be storing really in Germany or anywhere else in Europe, because then you don't have that hurdle. You import to Germany, you pay your import VAT in Germany, you reclaim it in Germany, like in the UK, and then you have some establishment within the European Union.
Okay. What about VAT number? Just extra little question about the VAT number not in those 7 countries. Let's say I register in Lithuania, where I'm from. Is that still like, that doesn't help me anyhow, right? That number having there and having no stock there or nothing, it doesn't help me, right?
It doesn't help you at all. No, it's always about storing in a particular country or exceeding the threshold. If you store in Lithuania, you need to get a VAT number in Lithuania, and then you can sell from Lithuania to other countries. As long as you're below the threshold, you paid in Lithuania. And once you exceed it, you need to anyway get registered in those countries. But since there is no FBA warehouse in Lithuania, there is no real advantage for you here.
Okay. I have like hundreds of other questions, but I will not take more of your time. All these things like foreign country coming to register for VAT. What if I'm a Canadian company? I don't even, and then what about like zero tax? And then all these inputs, outputs, sometimes Amazon charges VAT on their fees to some sellers. Why they do that sometimes and sometimes they don't. Like I have millions of questions, but I guess whenever people have questions, they should just come to you directly, right? And
I love answering those questions. I do this every day. So
let's see the way that they could contact you just to help them out. Free consultation, right? So, and then you just, I love your UI. Like, I don't know if you are behind it, but the way it's done, it's so pleasant to use, and it's really clear. It's very user friendly.
Our sales consultants, Summer and Claudia, they're more than happy to answer your questions about Canadian companies and zero VAT and Amazon, whatever it is. Or if you're interested in particular about Plan EU, is it worth it for you or not? Feel free to sign up for our webinar. So we have a regular, I think, bi-weekly webinar in German and English. And, as you see, next one is Thursday and Friday. And we talk about PanEU. You can ask your questions there, in particular about PanEU. And I think it's a great chance for everyone that is just interested in the potential of Amazon PanEU. So we also talk about how to calculate if it's worth it for you or if it's not.
Oh, great. Okay. This is a lot of very good information. Thank you very much for answering my questions and taking some time of your day to do that.
Thanks for having
And
me.
we'll chat again sometime soon. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. Bye, everyone.
Bye.